Hello there, it is James here from Food Matters, and I'm excited to be sharing this live video with you to share my review of this month's FMTV or Food Matters TV Film Club of the Month. So each month on the channel, we pick our most inspirational film or the film that shares the most important knowledge that we believe should be shared amongst our community and choose to highlight that film for a month. We've been featuring our film clubs of the month since the inception of Food Matters TV a couple of years ago now. And this film is a fantastic title because of how it brings a really important topic to the world. The title is called Plant Pure Nation. And this film is all about bringing to light research about the importance of adding more plant foods and whole foods into our diet. The film follows the story of T. Colin Campbell, and his son sort of follows his father's story and goes through some of the important research that he brought to light in a game-changing book that came out, I believe, in around 2006, 2007, called The China Study. And this book showed how traditional societies that predominantly eated plants had a lot less chronic degenerative disease. And it was an important study because it was one of the largest nutritional studies done to date. And I think some of the considerations, which I'll get to in just a minute, were so foundational in helping to kickstart this whole sort of plant-based movement that we're seeing happening. And I credit T. Colin Campbell with bringing a lot of that research to light. And what the film really highlighted first and foremost is the dangers of a diet based on processed foods and heavily processed animal products or mainstream factory farmed animal products. And I want to talk about the difference of those two in just a minute. And the film highlights the fact that we are spending this was in about 2015 statistics, about $2.8 trillion a year in North America alone on healthcare. And the trajectory of these expenses is completely unsustainable. There is no way we are going to be able to support the illness of our modern world with the current trajectory of increasing illness and the increasing healthcare spending that needs to happen. It is literally going to bankrupt our governments. And so where do we turn? Well, the mainstream pharmaceutical industry will say, well, we need more research, we need more funding so that we can create more drugs and solve this problem. And, you know, ever since we came out with Food Matters in 2008, and as this film goes to suggest as well, we share this common belief that food is better medicine than drugs, and that maybe we should be looking to food instead of more medications in order to be able to heal ourselves and the planet. And it showed as well statistics that up to 70% or 80%, let me check this, I wrote this down, so I thought it was really, here it is, 70% of the US population is taking at least one pharmaceutical drug. Now that is a phenomenal number. No wonder there is nearly $500 billion worth of sales in the pharmaceutical industry each year in North America alone. And it says here that 20% of the population is taking more than 5 different medications. And on top of those statistics of how much of the population is taking medication, and this is mirrored in the rest of the Western developed countries, such as Western Europe or Australia for that matter, or New Zealand, and more of the developing world as we adopt more of our modern lifestyle. It shows also here that 23 million people living in the US live in food deserts. So they don't actually have easy access to whole foods, plant-based foods. They have easy access to processed foods and foods that have been the result of a farming industry and an agricultural industry that's been subsidized primarily by the government to produce more low-cost food, which goes into the processed food industry. It goes into the agribusiness industry in terms of feeding livestock. And it's that low-cost food that we're now consuming en masse and really causing quite a few significant health challenges. The film goes on to suggest that if people adopt, and it says specifically in its language, a predominantly plant-based diet. So the film doesn't strictly promote 100% veganism. It does suggest that people for a short period of time take, for instance, 10 days, and they've got a program that they run some people through in the film, and you'll have to see the title in order to see what people, the results that people have, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So I encourage you to check it out. You can click on the link to see the trailer in with this video. And if you go onto FMTV, if you're already a member, You can watch the film and have full access to it as our Film Club of the Month. If you're not a member, you can try 10 days for free. You can't get any cheaper than that. You've got 10 days free to watch the entire channel and this film. So I encourage you to do that if you've got the time. So when this film suggests that plant-based eating or a predominant plant-based diet could be important for transforming your health, they take groups of people on a 10-day plant-based challenge. Now, this is an idea that I love. I love the idea of encouraging more people to eat more plants. And I really think we need to divorce ourselves from a lot of the nutritional dogma that's happening today in the world. We've become very divisive around subsets of the culture, of different people and ethnic groups. And it's no different when it comes to diet. We become very divisive around diets. We say, well, paleo is for meat eaters, and that's a no. And then we say, well, vegetarianism and veganism is for conscious people, and that's a yes, because it's conscious for the plants, conscious for the animals. But then where's the middle ground? And also, where's the acknowledgement of the fact that most of the great diets that are based on anthropological studies of human people really do have the common thread of saying that, look, circa 80% of what we should eat should come from plants. But I think to be so determined about the other 20% saying, well, everybody has to eat only plants, or is not very helpful, I think, in the food movement. I think that's one thing this film does suggest well when it says a predominantly plant-based diet. And I think one of the things I want to highlight here is I did an interview just recently on the Food Matters Facebook page with a Dr. Terry Walls. And she is a medical doctor that was suffering from multiple sclerosis, and she healed herself naturally. And she did it using a paleo diet. And instantly I said, well, how do you describe a paleo diet to yourself, and what does it consist of? And she was saying 9 cups of vegetables a day. And I'm saying, well, is this a vegetable-based diet? Is this a plant-based diet with some animal products? And she said, yes. So I'm like, okay, interesting. So I think that what this film promoting as well is the fact that we need to introduce more plant foods and more whole foods into our diet. And I couldn't agree with that more. And one of the reasons why I agree with that is because the type of meat that we're eating these days has changed dramatically. When we look at how we consumed animal products 50 or 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago for that matter, they were not domesticated animals, they were not factory farmed, and they were not fed products they were not designed to digest. Nowadays, we're chopping down the Brazilian rainforest to grow soy products to ship to North America to feed animals in factory farms in order to be able to produce low-cost meat for the American population and for the world, so that we can have fast food and animal products at a low cost. This has come at an extraordinary cost to our health, and one of the biggest shifts we need to make is to move back in the direction of eating more of a plant-based diet. Now, if you still choose to eat and consume animal products, which I do on an occasional basis, and I know that some people in the Food Matters community have oscillated between vegetarian and vegan diets, and then some animal products as well. And there's a balance there that works at different times in your life and at different stages of your life, and depending on what particular chronic disease or condition you may need help with. If you are choosing to introduce any animal products at all, they must be not factory farmed, organic, humane as possible, and ideally wild. So they've lived a wild life and they've eaten the diet and the foods they're meant to consume. When you have an animal that's been fed corn, wheat, or soy, it becomes sick because that food it's not designed to eat. And then it's put on antibiotics, which is why we have so many antibiotics in the food chain, and we have a huge amount of antibiotic resistance now showing up. This is a massive threat to the healthcare system. If we have antibiotic resistant superbugs making their way into our world, and we can't fight them with the antibiotic technology that we currently have, then we have the serious risk of mass communicable disease issues. And that's mainly caused by the fact that we're creating a lot of sick factory farm animals, and the antibiotic resistant bugs are harboring in that environment. It's just like when we first introduced domesticated animals into the household in the 1900s. That's when we started to see a lot of animal-borne illnesses and disease start to sweep through our population, Black Plague, etc. And this was a turning point in history, and we started to have to improve our hygienes and our standards of animal husbandry in order to be able to sort of co-companion with those animals. And that was a big learning curve for humanity. I think our next big learning curve that we need to cover right now is how we can more consciously eat more plants that are organic, local, natural, in season, grown sustainably, It makes complete sense. In addition to that, if we consume animal products, how do we make sure they're as conscious and as low impact to the environment as possible? For instance, fish is a great example. I think a lot of people go, well, fish is healthier, it's in the ocean, but if we consume large fish up the top end of the food chain that eat a lot of small fish, it's less sustainable. Plus also there can be the bioaccumulation of heavy metals, etc., in fish like broadbill or bigger tuna and so forth. So consuming less of them is a good idea. Plus it's not that sustainable in terms of fish stocks globally because of the idea of tragedy of the commons, where we have one big group of fish that migrates multiple oceans, and there's different sort of catchment rules on how many fish you can bag in each area. So there's a huge ecological stress of that. When you look at sustainable small fish such as sardines or herring or anchovies, they're a very sustainable source. They're much lower in toxins. So if you are going to consume some animal products, look for ones that have the least environmental impact, that are going to be able to support your health in a natural way without having that strain of factory farming as well that you have to live with in your conscious and also in terms of its impact on the environment. So the film does a great job at opening our eyes to the power of plants to heal the body, specifically when it comes to heart disease or high cholesterol and other cardiovascular related conditions, and diabetes as well. And these are some of the two biggest killers and non-communicable diseases that plague the modern world. So if you or a loved one are suffering from any chronic disease, this film is a must watch. If you're just interested in becoming more healthy and interested in finding out more inspiration about how you can introduce more plant-based foods into your diet, this film is a must. Once you've seen this film, we have plenty of plant-based whole food recipes on the Food Matters TV channel. We've got great chefs that guide you, like Cynthia Louise or Elizabeth Eats, that guide you through different recipes and inspiration to be able to make these changes and apply them into your life. We also have our 21-day program on Food Matters TV that can help take your journey from deciding to eat more whole foods into action with daily meal plans and recipes and yoga and meditation. And if you're already an FMTV member, you can dive straight in right now, follow this link, go to watch the film straight away. We'll be there to comment with you because this is our film club. So we're here to make sure this film gets heard and seen by our community as much as possible and shared, because the only reason we started Food Matters and Food Matters TV was to share this life-saving message with the world. And so we really see this platform as an opportunity not only to communicate and educate and collaborate together on learning more and being more of a conscious human in terms of how we interact with our planet and our bodies and our environment and also our community and our families, but so that we can also share this information with people who need it the most. And I'm certain that if I ask any of you listening to this talk right now or this live video, do you have any loved ones or people in your life that are suffering from chronic degenerative disease? And we can all confidently say, yes, we know some people that are going through that. This type of information that's presented in this film could be the catalyst for their transformation. And I would love to start to see more of this Food Matters community and you and I coming together to share this information with people who need it most so that they can have their own transformation and then hopefully pass it on to others as well. Plus, we do need to wake up to the impact that our diet is having not only on our bodies but also on our planet. And what we eat sends a massive message to our legislators, to the corporations and companies that produce a lot of food for us. And the more that we can demand local, organic, whole foods and plant-based foods, the more we're going to shift the focus of our agriculture and food production to those types of products. And that's a win for human health and it's a win for the planet. So make sure to check out Plant Pure Nation. It's an awesome title. I highly, highly recommend it. And we look forward to seeing your comments and feedback on the film. And if you want to join us for any of the guided programs and start to implement some of this knowledge into your life, simply after watching the film Inside FMTV, click on the tab, go to guided programs and pick a journey that's right for you. And I'd recommend even just giving the first 7 days of the 21-day program a go, because it could be all that you need to set your health on the right direction. Lots of love here from me. Thank you so much for your comments. Have a fabulous day and check out the film. Ciao for now. Bye.